Missing someone.
Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another Wreckfest update video. Now this game just seems to keep on giving, and we've actually got something a little bit special this time round. There's actually two updates. One of them is a DLC update which you will need the season pass for. The other one is known as the holiday update, and they've all come out at one time. So as you can see from the trailer that is currently playing on screen, there is a lot of content here to cover. Now it's all the stuff we've been looking forward to. So with the free update, just like the last one we had, we're actually getting 2 free tracks. And I have to say this time round, both of these tracks are superb, but I'll go into those in just a little while. On top of that, we have also got the DLC update, like I say, which you will need that season pass for. But this time that actually includes 5 vehicles. And I'm happy to say there's a couple in there that a lot of you guys have actually been asking for. In fact, there is even a monster truck, and it was only a couple of days ago that I was chatting to one of you guys down in the comments about how much we would like to see that added to the game. So as always, it looks like they really are listening to the community, and it's so refreshing to see a games developer doing this. And yes, I think by the end of the updates for this game, we're going to have everything that we've been asking for. So let's get straight into this, and I'm going to start with the free section, the holiday update. Now the 2 tracks we're actually getting here are called Hellride and Vale Falls. Hellride is without a doubt one of those tracks that we've all been calling out for. If you pay any attention to YouTube and you actually watch people playing this on the PC, you'll know that there's loads of mods available and people have come up with some really wild tracks. This is definitely one of those. It is actually possible to run this entire track against the flow of the competitors. So as you can imagine, there is huge crashes at every turn. On top of that, you've got massive jumps and banked corners at every possible location as well. So it can get really, really frantic, and it's really good fun just to try and survive it, certainly if you're using one of the smaller cars against some of the bigger things available. It's definitely the more exciting of the 2 tracks, and it's where I've been spending most of my time since playing this update. However, this time round, I have to say the second track is also very good, unlike the last update, which I think had one really strong track and one not so good. This time round we've got Vale Falls, and it's a really tight technical little track this. You've got plenty of switchbacks, plenty of hairpins, and I think it makes for some really good racing. This one definitely suits the smaller, more nimble cars. There are no massive straights, no huge areas for speed or anything like that. Personally, I found the Killer BS seemed to be working really well for me. Anyway, it's actually a car that I love within the game as it is, but yeah, on this particular course it works brilliantly. And if you're going to be going online and playing competitively, it's important that you find a car that is going to work for you, because most people are just going to go in there thinking they can pick an A-class car and dominate, but they're really not going to. They're going to struggle in those tight corners. So like I say, just play around with it, find a car that works for you, and you shouldn't have any issues with this track. On top of the new courses, they've also added a couple of features. Now, they've added the online track voting. So in between each of the events, you can now vote between all of you in that lobby to which track you want to go next, which is just a nice feature. It's something that we see in a lot of other games, and it's great that they've added to this. It's certainly not an issue. It's definitely an improvement in my opinion. On top of that, you can now host public servers. Not something that I've actually played around with yet, but again, it's something the community have been asking for a long time. And it's another great example of where they're listening to people and implementing exactly what we're asking for. And as I said before, all of those tracks and those features we've just talked about are all completely free. Even if you just own the base game, they will be available to you now. So if you haven't gone on to Wreckfest for a little while, make sure you log on and give this content a go. It should just make the game feel a little bit fresher for you. Now moving on to the paid DLC. So if you have the season pass, all of this stuff is available to you straight away. You should be able to just go onto the store section within the game and actually download this latest pack, and there should be no additional charge for it. The 5 cars we're actually getting here are probably the most diverse cars that we've had so far within an update, and that's saying something because they're always pretty diverse, but this time round they really have covered a lot of bases. We'll start with the Killer Pig. Now this is actually a B-class vehicle, and as you can see on the screen right now, it's a very interesting design. Now it feels very similar to the twin cars that we've had before within the game, in the sense that it is incredibly top heavy. So it does have a half decent acceleration, half decent top speed, However, when you come to a corner, you really need to watch out for those inner curbs, because otherwise you're just going to flip over and cause yourself all sorts of problems. It's not particularly well armoured either. It's probably not a car that you're going to use loads of times. However, it is really interesting. It's good fun, and as long as you watch those corners, it is a pretty usable car. Next up, we've got the Drag Slayer, and it is definitely a firm A-class vehicle. It has got bags of power, huge top speed. The cornering is interesting with this one. It is very good at cornering. However, it does love to over-rotate if you've got your traction control set low. So definitely don't use this one for Vale Falls. I mean, you can do. I played around with it. It just didn't work particularly well when I was doing it, but that could just be my skill level. However, like I say, for the big, long, straight courses, this is a fantastic vehicle, and I think you'll have a load of fun with it. Then we jump to Bugzilla, and I think it's pretty fair to say most of us have had our fingers crossed that they're going to add in monster trucks to this game. And this is the first one. I hope that they do bring more into it so that you've got a variety of them that you can race against one another. However, there is definitely features to this car that are a little bit unusual and difficult to use. Certainly, the engine though, a little bit unusual. It's certainly not what I was expecting from a monster truck. However, you can get past that, but the cornering is the main issue with this one. There's bags of power on offer, but when you come to turn a corner, this thing just doesn't like turning. I don't think that's a massive surprise considering what it is, but it just feels very, very difficult. Certainly on anything that's a tight corner, you have to slow right down just to get round it. The other issue with this as well is the fact that once you start rolling or anything like that, the tyres are so bouncy, you tend to just keep going and going and going. It makes for some amazing crashes visually, but when you're actually trying to win a race, it can be a bit of a nightmare. But all that being said, I'm so glad this has come into the game. Like I say, I look forward to them adding more monster trucks as well. I've had an absolute blast playing around with this morning. The first car on offer here is the Rocket, and it definitely falls into the category of all those smaller cars in there, like the lawnmower, the Dodger, the outhouse before. It can get a little bit frustrating because your driver tends to eject from the car quite regularly and you have to reset it. But it's great if you put it up against some real big vehicles like buses, things like that. Just see if you can survive the race. Certainly from my point of view, I don't ever really use these cars extensively, these little tiny ones. However, when you do use them, you can have a real laugh. And yeah, it's another great addition to the game. And lastly, we have a military vehicle. It's called the War Digger. It's another one of those things that you guys have been asking for down in the comment section on previous videos, and just telling me in general that you would love to see. Now, I know it's not the most military of vehicles. A lot of people would love to see a tank and things like that, but it's nice to see that they're heading in this direction anyway. When you first get it, it comes as a B-class vehicle. And I have to say, it's not too bad at all. I've used this one quite a lot actually. Now, on the stats in the garage, it says that the cornering is equally as bad as it is on the monster truck, but I don't feel like it is quite as bad as that. Whether it's just the types of track I was using it on, I just got on quite well with this one. It's certainly got loads of strength to it, and if you actually upgrade it, it becomes a bit of a speed demon, to be honest. So definitely play around with this one. I think it'll be something that you might really enjoy. And that's it. That's the update. But what an update that is. Certainly if you own that season pass as well as getting the free content, you are getting a lot to play around with here. And it's all really good quality, and a lot of it is exactly what we've been asking for. But I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this update down in the comment section. Also, as always, I'd love to hear your ideas of what you think is going to be coming in future updates. They're always really interesting to read, and it's even better to see some of them come to life in updates like the one we've had today. As I always do with these videos, I am going to leave you with some footage of me doing one of the courses with one of the new cars, and this time round it is going to be the monster truck on Hellride. And I'm going to be honest with you, I played this level a lot this morning and I ended up wrecking on most attempts. However, this video is a great example of what you can actually achieve if you try and avoid people a little bit more and be a little bit more cautious. Stay till the end if you want to check that out, but obviously you don't have to. But I would just like to say, if you've enjoyed the video today, please give it a like. It really helps the videos grow when you do that. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. I've got videos like this coming out all the time. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.